Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
We have a 19mm socket, an extension, and a breaker bar. I'm going to crack the lug nuts free. Now we're going to raise and support the vehicle with a 2-post lift. You can use a jack and jack stands. Now with the vehicle raised up, we're going to take the lug nuts off. Now we'll pull the tire off. This sway bar link is a little bit rusty, so we're going to spray some rust penetrant on it. And we'll spray some rust penetrant on this nut right here. Now we're going to take this nut off. We're going to use a 17mm wrench to get on there, but when we loosen it up, this stud is going to start spinning. So what we want to do, there's a little Allen in there. Little spot for an Allen, so we're going to use a 6mm Allen, and I'm just going to hammer it in because this one's a little rusty. So I'll take my ratchet and I'll put it on the tightening setting, and then I'll loosen this up. This nut is on there pretty hard, so what I'm going to use is a hammer, and I'm just going to tap on my wrench to get it started, just like that. And with my ratchet, I'll hold the stud. I can actually go like this to an extent. So this is pretty rusty. I'm gonna just use a wire brush, try to get some of this rust off of the stud. Maybe that'll help. All right, so this nut's giving us some trouble. So the next step, what you could do or what we could do would be cutting the stud off in the back. We could use like a reciprocating saw or a whizzer and get the stud cut. Before we do that, I am going to attempt to use an impact gun. What I'll use is some locking pliers on the back here first. Just lock it onto the stud. I'm just going to work the nut back and forth. First, I'm going to tighten it. And I'll just go back and forth. And this last time should take it off. And there we go. Got it off. I'll pull the locking pliers off. Right, the lower nut for the sway bar link is right here on the back side. The end is just as rusty as the upper one, so I'll take my little wire brush and just clean that off a little bit. And spray a little more rust penetrant on here. So to prevent my stud from spinning on this joint, I'm going to put some locking pliers on the back side. Pretty much what's happening, I'm just putting it on that, so to prevent it from spinning. Now I'm going to try to loosen this up. I'm going to tap with a hammer, see if I can get the wrench to loosen up a little bit. This nut wouldn't break free, so we're going to heat it up a little bit. Just going to use a little bit of MAP gas. This part of the sway bar link just popped off. It must have been a nylon seal or something in there, so that just popped off right there, like that. So, taking this nut off, it's giving me a little bit of trouble, but it's not impossible. All right, so this nut's almost coming off. If there was more room, I could get a ratchet in there, but really not that much room. You could use a ratchet wrench to get this off if it wasn't so tight. And there we go. Got it off. This is our old sway bar link. This is our new sway bar link from 1aauto.com. If you look at it, it's very similar. The joints are the same. The new one comes with new nuts. Take those off. This is generally what goes bad on these. What'll happen is this will loosen up and this ball and socket will rattle when you're going over bumps. So get your new one at 1aauto.com and you'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, we're gonna install the sway bar link this way. We're gonna slide that stud in down below there. And put the nut on the end of that. I'll slide the upper stud in here and push it down a little bit. Slide that in through the strut. And snug that up. I'm gonna use a 3/4 ratchet wrench to snug this nut down, and I'm gonna use a 6mm Allen socket to hold the stud from spinning. So I'll stick my ratchet on there. Just tighten this up and put the ratchet on loosen, and that will hold the stud while I'm tightening it up. All right, now we're gonna torque this using a 19mm socket and a torque wrench. We're gonna torque it to 58 foot-pounds. Kind of hard to do this. The stud is just spinning, so I'm gonna just lock the back side of this stud with these locking pliers. And that's 58 foot-pounds. Now we're gonna put the tire back on. Line it up with the studs and take our lug nuts. Put them on. It's easier to use the socket when you're putting the lug nuts on. All right, and we're gonna drop it down and torque them. Now we're gonna use a torque wrench and torque it with a 19mm socket. We're gonna torque these to 80 foot-pounds in a star pattern. That is gonna tighten the wheel properly. Just like that.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at 1aauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.